Honestly, nothing makes me quite as happy as having new books, and I'm really excited about this stack, and I'm here to share it with you. Now, before I start, I would like to state that thank you so much for all the views and support and shares on my last video. It's doing so well, and I'm surprised. But yeah, some authors are just But blog host did make a comment because I did make an error in that video. Paul Kruger is not a sexual predator. He's an abuser, a gaslighter. He targeted quite a lot of women of color, and he was also quite, in support of white racists so far as it could benefit his own ends. But a sexual predator he was not. Was he an asshole? Yes. 100% yes. He is still a piece of shit, but he's not a sexual predator. So let's just get into it. And I'm going to start with a book I received. I didn't order this. I know I didn't order this, and I don't think it was in my wish list. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But I got In the Hall with the Knife by Diana Pritterfrond. This is a clue mystery novel, so inspired by the board game. And you have this five or six students? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. These 6 students at an elite prep school in Maine. They are, snowed in, etc., etc. They can't leave, and they are snowed in with their headmaster. But what happens when it is that their headmaster is found like murdered, clearly stabbed to death, because there's all the blood, and it's only them and him that is present, and every single one of these students has a motive for murder. The whole point is to try and puzzle out exactly who is guilty, etc., etc. I do like this whodunit scenario. I never played the Clue board game because we just don't have that in Nigeria, duh. But I'm interested in seeing how this book pans out. If you're the one that sent it to me, please let me know in the comments so that I can say a huge thank you. I want to get more into thrillers and mysteries, etc., etc. So I'm really excited to read this. The next book that arrived for me, At Your Age is Brown. Because see, I ordered this, I pre-ordered this, and I'm so excited it finally arrived. It took forever and a day. Everybody and their mother and their mother's mother and all their great aunts and everybody in their family, they have read this book. But me, nah, I had to wait. And it breaks my heart. Because if it's my type of mess, right? She's just amazing. But there's also the fact that no matter how good her intentions are, things always just seem to go wrong for her, and it's very frustrating. And when she ruins a very expensive wedding, her parents like put their foot down and like, you have to grow up. So Eve drives off. She stumbles upon this idyllic town. You have Jacob, who is our love interest. Jacob, who likes to be in control. It's like, this is how things should be, etc., etc. And he also runs a bed and breakfast and is currently in search of a chef. Enter Eve, who is like, oh, one of the many skills I picked up, because I do think that Eve has ADHD. I'm not sure. I don't know. Like, that is my assumption, but I might be wrong. When I read the book, I'll find out. But basically, Eve has tried out different professions, and cooking was one of them. And she's like, I have the skills to be a good chef. And Jacob is like, I look at you and I see a hot mess. And Eve is like, are you sure? I repeat, I'm a good ass chef. And Jacob is like, I don't trust you. You do not look trustworthy, Eve Brown. And she's like, oh, fine, whatever. And so she drives up. But see, in driving away, she kind of sort of accidentally, mistakenly, not really knowing how she did it, kind of broke Jacob's arm. And Jacob is like, fuck. And Eve is like, see, this is the universe. Like, I've broken your arm accidentally, of course. So now I have to take over the chef position and also help you run your bread and breakfast because your arm is broken. And it's like, holy shit, this woman is going to ruin my entire life, And there's the back and forth, and then they fall in love. Can you all guess how much I'm looking forward to the chaotic mess that's going to be this book? Because I am looking forward to the chaotic mess that is going to be this book. As always, the cover is just amazing. This is the last book in the trilogy, and I think Talia mentioned that she's doing a spin-off novel, probably a spin-off series based off of the characters we meet in this community, and I'm really excited and I cannot wait. So yeah, At Your Age, Eve Brown. Next up is Lost in the Neverwoods by Aidan Thomas. You all know I read Aidan Thomas's Cemetery Boys last year and I loved it. There was this humor that they brought to the characters. There was just the mythical element with Lady Death. It was beautiful. Cemetery Boys was funny and impactful, and it's a tiny, small book, and it held my soul, my spirit, my heart in its hands. So when it is that Aidan was like, oh, you know what, I have a new book coming out, Lost in the Neverwood. It's the first book I wrote. I'm really excited for you all to read it. I'm like, I am down for it because get this. This is a Peter Pan retelling. Everybody, do you know what this means? We are getting other stories, other retellings, other than Beauty and the Beast. In this, it's a mystery because, see, children in the town, they disappear. And when they disappear, the adults want answers. And Wendy and her brothers disappeared 5 years ago. But only Wendy returned. Her brothers didn't return. And after she settled in, the children in the town start going missing again. So the adults turn to Wendy for answers. But remember, Wendy has no memories. She does not know what happened. She does not know how she got missing. She does not even know where her brothers are. And one day when she's running and trying to escape all the questions that people keep throwing at her, questions that she does not have answers to, she stumbles on Peter. Peter lying in the middle of the road. Peter, who she always thought was a figment of her imagination. Peter, who turns out actually does exist, and he has the answers, right, with regards to what happened to the children, what happened to her brothers, and he needs her help to go and rescue them. But this would mean Wendy confronting whatever darkness or evil or memory that is in the Neverwoods.
This is so good. Oh my God.
Next, I got, yes, because you all know I have the arc of this, and I pre-ordered Gilded Ones because Namina Fauna is amazing. In the Gilded Ones, we have Decca. Decca, who lives in a village where your blood determines, the color of your blood determines your worth. And the people in the village, they cut the girls when they reach a certain age. And if your blood runs red, then you're welcome within the community because you are, in quote, normal. And there is nothing Decca wants more than to be normal. But when it is that on the day she's cut, she bleeds gold. She knows that that is the end for her, until a woman comes into the village and basically asks her, tells her that she has a choice. She can either, stay here and deal with that consequence, or she can go join the group of warrior girls that the king is currently putting together in the palace called the Alaki. And they are the ones that stand between the human world and the monsters that are coming for them. So Decca takes this opportunity to take her life in her hands and sets off for the city and joins the girls. And there, of course, she finds a family, she finds a community, but also there, that is where she discovers her powers, and she realizes that it is only the Alakis that really do stand a chance to save the world. I am ready for it. Girl power, sisterhood, amazingness. This cover, look at that cover. Isn't Decca gorgeous? Isn't she stunning? Isn't she wonderful? Then there's Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. Oh, goddamn, this book. I love the premise of this so much. So we follow Grace, right? Grace, who just completed her PhD and goes on a girl's trip to Vegas to celebrate getting that PhD. And I'm like, girl, I feel you. Like, when I get my PhD, that's the first thing I intend to do as well. Anyway, so she goes to Vegas to celebrate getting her PhD, and you know what happens in Vegas? Yeah, you get married. She gets married. She wakes up and realizes that she got married to this absolute total stranger, this woman that she does not know. Yes, you heard that right. She got married to this woman that she does not know while in Vegas. And then when it hits her that, she's suffering from burnout, right? There's the expectation from her parents, there's the old job insecurities, and what is she going to do with her life, etc., etc. When all that feelings hit her, she decides to leave Portland and go to New York with her new wife Yuki, where she ends up falling for this creative, brilliant woman. Her time away in New York is just her hiding in a way, and when reality comes knock and is like, yo, yoo-hoo, Grace, remember me, I'm still here, adulthood is waiting for you, Grace, you cannot run away from this shit, Grace, I am coming for your ass, Grace. Grace is like, fuck, and so she has to deal with the feelings of insecurities, the fears for her future while stepping into adulthood. So it's a book, a story about finding yourself, finding love, and defining who you are. And I'm really excited to read this. I have heard this book has evoked so many emotions in people, and I'm ready for it. This is it. You get what I'm saying? This is it. Then I got the final revival of Opal and Nev by Donnie Walton. This is the book that Daisy Jones and the Six wishes she was. And I say this as someone that has not yet read Izzy Jones and the Six, even though I have it on my shelf. I bought it when it was released, and then I heard such mixed reviews, and I'm like, I loved Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, but I'm like, I'm still gonna read it. But I'm going to be reading Opal and Nev first. Anyway, so in this we follow Opal. Opal is a black punk artist, and when she's discovered one night, right, by Neville, who comes to her and is like, yo, let's form a partnership, let's form a duo. And then they join this like a record label, this newly started record label, and you know they're on the up and up. It's in New York City, everything is funky and creative, and Opal has found her tribe. But when it is that another band, one of the other bands that is signed with their record, when those fucking motherfucking assholes decide to brandish a Confederate flag at one of their promotional tours, Opal decides to use her voice, and you know she protests, right? But what that ends up becoming is this devastating reaction to that protest, because as always, society has a problem with black women who are vocal and who use their voice. And that ends the chapter. But several decades later, Neville is asking for a reunion with Opal, and as she's considering it, there's a journalist who is a fan of the duo, right? Like, who grew up on their music and is really excited for this opportunity to interview them and collect their oral histories. But when the interview starts and Sonny, the journalist, starts to dig really deep, a new allegation breaks forth from a new source that threatens to once again upend everything. Like, look at that. It's music, it's politics, it's protest, it's black punk, and it cannot be black punk without protest, right? It's protesting is woven into that music scene, and I'm just I can't wait to read this. Can you all tell that I'm really, really excited that I have this book in my hands?
Delicious. Finally. Some good fucking food.
Next, I got The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. This is a story that spans several centuries, right? Or rather, two timelines. So the first timeline is in 18th century London, where you have Nella, who runs an apothecary. But this is an apothecary like no other, because what she does is sell well-disguised poisons to women who come to her shop to escape the oppressive men in their lives. Yes, so it's a hidden clientele. All the women, nobody says it's the first rule of Fight Club. Nobody talks about Fight Club. In this case, nobody talks about Nella's apothecary, because she is serving she's providing a service to women who desperately want it. She's going about her business one day when she crosses path with a 12-year-old, a precocious 12-year-old girl called Eliza Fanning. And this unexpected meet, which grows into an unexpected friendship, creates a string of consequences that kind of explodes and like trails its way across centuries. So moving on to the second timeline, which is present day, you have a historian, Caroline, who is currently dealing with her husband's recently discovered infidelity, when she stumbles upon a vial from Nella's apothecary. And so she decided that, you know what, to deal with this infidelity of a cheating slimeball of a husband, she's going to throw herself into research work, right? Because I repeat, she's a historian. But what happens when in her research, she like finds a connecting link to Nella and Eliza, all in this unexpected twist that basically ties all three women together. I'm over here and I'm like, I am intrigued, I am ready. The minute I heard of the synopsis of this book, I was like,
my body is ready.
Then I got The Heiress Gets a Duke by Upper St. George. In this, we follow August, whose family is into steel and rail making and clearly building an empire. But see, our family is new money, and new money does not have a place in Victorian society. Like, they have all the money, but they do not have the blessing, in quote, of nobility. Ugh. See, that's the part of historical romances I can never get behind, because I'm like, anyway, they can't get into nobility. They have to do that by marriage. Unfortunately for them, August is like, fuck marriage. What I want, the only thing I want around my finger is not a ring, it's the family business. And she's like, no, I want the family business. But of course, she has all these ideas, and she's a woman in Victorian England time. And everybody's like, the fuck? So our parents are like, you know what? We're going to save ourselves the embarrassment and we're going to have your younger sister Violet instead be married to the Duke of Rothschild. And August is like, yo, hold up. An arranged sister for my baby sister, not gonna happen. So she goes to support her sister, aka this wedding is not gonna happen. But when she gets there and is her fiery self, because you know historical romance is always like this whole fiery and taming of the shrew bullshit. But anyway, she goes there, she's like, not gonna happen, not going to go silently to her fate. She meets Evan the Duke of Rothschild. Evan, who is like, it technically does not really like the wallflower. That's another term that historical romances like to use a lot. So he doesn't like Violet, the sister. She's all right and everything, but see, August is the kind of woman he prefers, and so he decides that she's the one he wants to marry. But August refuses to go silently to her face. She's like, nah, I'm going to cause a ruckus. I'm going to cause a chaos. I am not going to marry. But every single trouble and every single chaotic situation that she creates, it just makes him even more determined to marry her because she just continually proves that she's totally and completely his type. So I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I sincerely hope it is not a taming of the shrew thing. If it is, I probably will just... And then I got A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. I am still pissed that it's not a court of silver and flames, but whatever. We have had this conversation. I refuse to reiterate it. This is Nesta's story, right? I'm not going to go into details because that would spoil A Court of War and Ruin, things that happen in that book. But this is Nesta's story. This is Nesta and Cassian's story. And there's something, I think that as a whole, people are very unforgiving towards women who are not likable. Right? There is this belief that you need to be nice and kind, or in a way, people need to like you for you to be deserving of your own story. And we have Nesta Acheron, who is caustic and cutting and biting and not the best sister. She's a horrible sister to Feyre in the first 3 books. And I just... No matter how much I want to shake her, I respect her. I respect her for that. I respect Nesta for not pretending to be somebody that she's not. Like, she's not Elaine. She's not Feyre. She's Nesta. And she will bite your head off. And I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that we get the story, because she's yet another she's yet another woman who has been scarred both by the circumstances with her growing up and also with regards to the war. So I want to see how Sarah sets about her healing in this book, because that's something I really do enjoy in Sarah J. Maas books. Yes. Our writing sometimes has me rolling my eyes because, oh my god, the amount of time she uses incarnate, death incarnate, night incarnate, assassin incarnate, all the incarnates. I'm like, stop saying incarnate, Sarah. So the amount of time she says incarnate, male, female, mate, etc. Like, our writing is not Chinua Achebe level of writing, like spectacular, but I love the fact that consistent theme in her story is about women finding their agency, broken women finding healing, and like falling and discovering their power. And there is a latent power present in Nesta Acheron that I just cannot wait to, like Amren told her in A Court of Winds and Ruin, I can't wait for her to explode and let the entire world know. So yeah, A Court of Silver Flames, everybody. She thick. This is such a big book. I don't... Why is it such a big book?
She's huge, but she's so beautiful.
And finally, the last book I'll be sharing in this all is Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. This is the second book in the Lost Hour series. My relationship with Cassandra Clare has always been kind of like as a back and forth. I did not like her Mortal Instruments books. I just, the writing was story was There was this constant incest thing in that book, and I was like, in that series, and I was like, and the Dark Artifices was okay. It still had a bit of incest thingy sometime, and I'm like, woman, what is your fascination with incest? What the hell? She doesn't go all the way through, but I'm like, she come close enough that I'm very uncomfortable. And I was like, okay, maybe this woman's books might not be for me. Then I read the Dark Artifices. That's my favorite Cassandra Clare series to date. Absolutely love it. I absolutely love her Elder Scrolls series. That's because it's Magnus and Alec, and Magnus Bane is one of my favorite characters. Yes, I am a huge fan of the Shadowhunter show. I don't give a shit. Come for me. I don't care. I love that show. But I'm also really enjoying The Lost Hours, and this is the second book. I'm not going to go into details with regards to this book because I do not want to spoil it for you. But there seems to be yet another killer on the loose in London, and it might be one of them. But this killer is targeting Shadowhunters. And there seems to be a haunting and a possession, and everybody in this book has secrets. And I don't know why. I'm just like, why is this giving me City of Fallen Angels vibe? Because there was a possession in that one as well. And a character that seemingly was one of them, but like seemed to be the one killed. I'm like, please, Cassandra Clare, surprise me. Do not take it in the direction I think you're going. Because if you are giving me City of Fallen Angels 2.0, I will be very pissed. Because she's also a big book.
But you'll have to make it worth my while, Trilly.
But yeah, that is my book haul. I think there are 10 books in all, and I'm really, really excited. I think this is a great haul for me. Let me know which of these books I talked about you're looking forward to reading. Maybe it is that you already have it on in your site, or I just put you onto them and you're like, oh my god, Maria, that is a great book. I want to read that book. Please let me know. Drop it down in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed this video, do not forget to give it a big thumbs up. Check out my other videos. Subscribe if you want to. And if you do decide to subscribe, do not forget to click on the notification bell. So after you hit subscribe, click on that bell so you can have all notifications turned on so you don't miss any of my new videos. I make new videos often every Wednesdays and Sundays, but turn all notifications on because I repeat, I'm going through a depressive episode, so I don't know. I'm not sure. Books make me happy though. But that is it. I will see you soon. Until next time, stay passionate, love books, love your nerdy ass self. And bye.